Thank you for making the time. Is your day going so far so good?
So good. So good. How about you?
Nonstop, but good. Thank you very much. And
Where are you?
Long Island, New York. Have you spent much time out here?
New York City.
Okay, 20 miles away or so. I didn't realize you were in New York City.
20 miles. Yeah, New York City. And yeah, my family lives actually in Greenwich, Connecticut a lot of the time. So we spend a lot of time in Long Island.
Wow, I didn't know. This is a town called Long Beach where where a lot of movies and TV things are filmed here, but they always say somewhere else. They always say, oh, this is Miami. Oh, this is Idaho. I think Orange is the New Black said that this is Idaho for something. So you never know.
A one-stop shop. It can fit all.
Exactly.
Like the sisterhood of the traveling pants of locations.
Exactly. So we were connected, speaking of productions, to talk about Hollywood.Con. And I had the pleasure of interviewing Mika last week.
Yeah.
Now, we were so busy talking about stuff, I didn't get to ask about you. So this is not the ask the same question. This is the ask the things I didn't get to ask. So how did you and her first connect?
Oh, you broke up a little bit there. This is the ask new things?
This is the ask new things. So how did you and Mika first connect?
We first connected actually in 2009 or 2010. It was 2010. On a film that we both worked on together called Virgin Alexander, and it was so much fun. We were acting together, and it was one of those magical things where like you just become best buddies right away, and so that's where our story began, and then since then, we've just obviously stayed really, really close friends. And she started writing this a couple of years ago, and she was just kind of, we were obviously talking really frequently, and she was keeping me in the loop, and I was so excited about it. And she just one day was like, Paige, hey, do you want to come in and, do a little cameo or something? And I said, absolutely. And then we did it, and it was such a blast. It was so fun. The filming process was awesome. I'm so proud of her and inspired by her. She did a great job, and it is so fabulous that she created this vehicle for her to transition from being this long time, working actress to directing and writing. It's just fantastic. So I was honored to be a part of it.
Do you remember how long you were on the set for? How many days?
How many days? Well, yeah, they shot me out in a couple of days. So like, I've got a few scenes throughout the film, and I'm sort of a topic of conversation throughout the film. And, but they shot me out, I think, in like 3 days, a couple days. So it was really, really quick. And we had a blast. We had a blast on set. My scenes are, I believe all of them are with Mika. So we were just kind of, we hunkered down and we cranked it out.
That actually led to my next question, which was this movie filmed in sequence? I didn't think it was. So you helped me answer that.
It was not. There were so many pieces and moving parts to this project. They were all over the place. And they really, just to make it all happen, there's no way they could have done it in sequence. But yeah, so no, it was definitely not done in sequence. But yeah.
And then did you have the script well in advance? Was there any improv on the set in your scenes?
You know what? I've actually gotten this question a few times, and I think it's such a compliment to get this question. But no, there was not. I did have the script because Mika was sending it to me as her and Ben were working on it. So I was definitely like, I knew what scenes I was working. When it came to the actual scenes we did, Mika was, she's a pretty flexible, adaptable director. So if there was something that came up where we were like, oh, that line, it doesn't it's not landing or something like that, then I'm sure she would jump in and throw us a different line. But but I remember, and I'm not exactly sure, I remember it just being like really me memorizing the lines, and it was pretty word for word based off of Bobo. Oh, sorry.
Oh, good.
Well, it was pretty, it was pretty all written out, before I didn't have to do much improv. I think maybe we played around a little bit here and there because it was just, we were, friends having a good time on set. But no, I think it was pretty much what she had written in the script. Hey, come here. Come on.
It's refreshing to hear that it was such a positive experience, because the film and TV history is full of experiences of, hey, can you do me a favor and come out for a couple days and film this, and then just it blowing up and the people never talking ever again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's such a thing that can really happen, and happens quite often. Yes, it definitely does. But no, this was not that experience at all. This was like, I feel like this is what really good, beautiful collaboration should look and feel like. And they made it so easy, Ben and Mika. They really did such a good job of running the set and just being super, super prepared. So yeah, I really like it. It was really, really easy. It was really, really seamless and fun. Such a positive experience. Yeah.
And as somebody who's taping interviews 5-6 days a week, and most of the people I say, hey, so when did you make this new movie? They go, 2018, 2017. I think I even got a 2016 from a recent interview that I did with an actor. So, yeah. Of course, this movie took a while, and there wasn't just one location to it. But looking at your IMDb page, we see a lot of upcoming stuff. We see Prairie Bones, To Have and To List, which is the short film collection. You're keeping pretty busy, it looks like.
Yeah, keeping pretty busy. And Prairie Bones, I think that's actually been something that's been on hold for a long time. But yeah, keeping busy, and I feel very, very thankful that I was able to work throughout the pandemic, and that was really awesome. That was a really awesome experience, and I'm so grateful to have been able to do that. But yeah, now things are just kind of picking up, and it's and it feels really, really good. It's nice to be back out in the world again.
Is it the kind of thing with projects where you've been working on things that are not up on IMDb because Deadline.com did not say it was okay to post them yet?
I have not had that experience. I mean, for me, what I've been doing a lot of is, I actually don't even know what's on my IMDb. I have not looked in several months, but I should. So I don't really know what's posted and what's not posted. But yeah, I don't know. Is that a thing that's happening?
I've done a lot of interviews where people say, well, we're not allowed to talk about it until the Deadline.com announcement goes
out. Oh, yeah. That's
the embargoed press release kind of.
Okay. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, no, that is a real thing. That's a real thing where like you can't, it has to be announced. I know it's annoying. And it just sort of, because it's gonna, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So maybe there might be some stuff like that. I don't know.
Well,
but yeah, there are definitely
either way, you are keeping busy, and a lot of people during the pandemic didn't do anything, whether it was by choice or whether there was nothing in their region. The projects that you worked on, were they primarily in the New York and LA areas, or just more remote areas?
No, actually, what I really got into, and what's been so exciting is I got like my first really significant voiceover job.
Oh.
Before the pandemic, on a show on Nickelodeon called The Astronauts. And it was so awesome, and it was a season. And luckily, I am the voice of the spaceship. So I when I got it, they had done a huge amount of the filming prior to lockdown, and then And then I was brought on board just to sort of go through all the episodes and do all of the, all of the voiceover work for the ship. And we set up something in my closet, and we cranked out the whole season from, just my little New York City sound studio in my closet. And it was awesome. So a lot of kind of what that opened up a lot of new work for me in the sense of, I had never really done voiceovers. So that's been just such a blessing and such an exciting new avenue to work, to sort of walk down and to work in. So yeah, that's that for me. I worked from my closet in New York City. That was my location. That was it.
Did having to set up that kind of a situation make you or force you to learn a lot about microphones and audio setup in general?
Oh yeah, truly. Yeah. And thankfully my fiance is really good with that stuff. Like, he's very, very techie. So he was a huge help and critical in getting like the setup, really, really strong and making the space workable. But we did it and it was great. I also, another thing is yeah, it's like it was such a devastating year. I mean, just there's no other way to say it. And in the entertainment industry as well, like there's so many artists that I that I've just like, I have so many artist friends that are no longer in New York City, and it's hard. But I do feel like I feel like everyone's gotten so innovative, and everyone has really found a way to stay busy and continue to creating and to like, and it's been an opportunity for people to discover these new interesting ways that feel good of like putting out their work and generating income and connecting, and just it's really been, I'm excited to see where the next few years take us, because I feel like people have, although it's been really isolating and tragic and so much trauma, I feel like this year has also there's been so much like germination, there's people have really done so much evolving in sort of how they show up to the world and how they find fulfillment. And a lot of that is going to be sort of more self-generated, because that's what was available to us at these times,
Resourcefulness. Yes,
resourcefulness, and sort of reaching in and being like, all right, well, what can I do to stimulate myself in a way that feels good? I think it was like going to the theater or going to the movies, and a lot of creatives are just exactly, getting have gotten just super resourceful, and I'm excited to see what work comes out of that.
Cool. Well, do you have time for 3 quick questions and then you're on your way with your day?
Oh, yes, sir, indeed.
Okay. First question is, big fans of Arrested Development in this household.
Oh, so good.
The barbecue story arc, loved it. Was that as much fun as I think it was?
What, the Howard barbecue?
The Howard barbecue, and just in general, being around such like an influential generation of comedians and actors right there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was such a special experience on so many levels. I mean, Arrested Development is one of my favorite shows of all time as well. And yeah, that set is just, everyone is so sharp, so on the ball, such a lovely group of people, such a down to earth group of people. But man, they work. They are so quick. They are so sharp. Yeah, I learned so much. I was just sort of absorbing it. And just to also mention one personal thing that was really special to me about working on Arrested Development and having that opportunity is that was actually my grandfather, who's like my grandma and my granddad are like the ones that like pioneered to the West Coast to like become actors and follow that dream. And then they ended up having my dad and my uncle and so on and so forth. And, so it goes. But my granddad, who's like a true dreamer, who loved acting from the purest place in his being. It was so pure to the very end. And, it gives me goosebumps, but the last thing that he ever did, it makes me emotional, I'm so sorry. But the last thing he ever did was, his last day on set ever in his whole life was like with me and my siblings and my dad. And so the last thing he's ever worked on, like a month later, he ended up passing away. But like I'm so sorry. But he was actually, it was a day on set on this episode of Arrested Development that was about the family that he created. And like, it was just such a beautiful exclamation point on the end of an incredible career and an incredible life. And it was just amazing that like we could all be there together and,
And very funny part too, the fact that he was watching over everyone.
I know. It was such an incredible, like, when he's looking back on it all, he's just smiling and like kind of chuckling, like, that's funny. That's like really, it's such a special memory. So I don't know where things sit on like his IMDb page, but that was his last day on set.
Yeah. My next question should be easier, and that's, I couldn't figure this out through basic research, and that's, do you have a favorite band or musical artist?
A favorite band? You know what? I don't really have favorites. Everyone in my life knows that like I don't really have favorites. But I will say, I'll throw out a couple that I love. Lindsey Stirling.
Oh yeah.
Lindsey Stirling?
Yeah.
I love Lindsey Stirling. I love Imagine Dragons. I love Katy Perry. So Beatles, I love. Yeah. So those are a couple of favorites.
Cool. And my last question, this can include as much self-promotion as you want. It's any last words for the kids?
Any last words for the kids? I would say, just continue to follow what feels good to you, follow your heart, follow your excitement, follow the breadcrumb of your excitement, and take it as far as you possibly can. That's some of the best advice that I've ever gotten. And, just to make stuff, to create, to get out there and make as much as you possibly can, because that's what we're here to do. And it's so much fun and it's so fulfilling, and you never, ever know where that will lead you. So yeah.
Well said. Looking forward to all those upcoming projects, but thank you so much for your time, Paige.
Thanks, Darren. Have a good one.
Paltrocast.